more things in your life to look forward to? Okay, I can't see you raising your hand, so smash the like button for me as you get settled in, because today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite ways to make your life richer because you have more to look forward to. In this video, we're going to talk about planning a season of reading so that you have a reading life that you look forward to, like you look forward to your first cup of coffee in the morning, or turning on your favorite show at the end of the day, or your favorite podcast to release an episode, your vacation, whatever it is you're looking forward to. Your reading life can be one of those things. And not only that, it can be the through line of your life and your day. I look so forward to sitting down with my books and coffee in the morning. I wake up early just so I have more time to sit and read and learn in the morning. And then at night, I am incentivized to go to bed early because I want to get back to my book. And then I want to get up early again and do it all over again. So today, if you are wanting a reading life that you love, a time with your books that you cannot put down, and women to discuss them with, then you are in the right place. Today I'm going to be giving you your Glam Summer Reading Guide, and that is all of the books we're going to be reading together in the Paper Glam Book Club. If you are new, I'm Lisa Marie. I'm so excited that you're here. I have been running a book club for the last 12 years now, since September of 2014, and we have been reading a book a month together with a beautiful cover and a seasonal vibe. So we vote in the Paper Glam experience, we vote on what books we're going to read together every season. So we just went through this process. I debuted 3 titles for every month, each with a theme, and then members voted on what they want to read. So all of the books for each month are different. They have a different vibe, a different pull, but they all kind of fit under one particular theme. And I have a lot of fun just planning what books I'm going to debut to the community, and then you guys have a lot of fun voting. So today I'm going to be debuting the titles that won. I'll also share with you the titles that were contenders for each month. And my goal for this video is for you to have some ideas for how to plan a reading life that you love this summer. And of course, to invite you to read along with us in the Paper and Glam community. This week, May 7th through May 14th, you can join the Paper and Glam Book Club for a season or for a year. The year is, of course, the better deal, but I would love to have you reading along with us this summer. So your dream reading life and just having more things to look forward to this summer is just a moment away in the Paper and Glam experience. And you can join the full experience, which includes Glam Memories, which is launching this summer with the Season Living Masterclass, the book club, and the Bible study. Or this week, you can join book club for a season or for the year. So without further ado, let me show you what we are reading this summer and what we are so excited to discuss the last Wednesday of every month this summer. Let's get into it. Okay, for the month of May, the theme was rules that are meant to be broken. So I'm going to run through each of these pretty quickly. There is a Amazon list below with all of the books in them. So if you want more information or you want to get them on the way home to you, that is there. So we're going to do like a lightning round, and then I'm going to announce which book won. So see if you get right which book won. I cannot predict which book wins every month, even after doing this all these years. So it's fun to see. It's fun to see which one wins, and if you're right about which one is going to win, which one people are most excited about to read. Okay, the first book is a smash hit that I have been wanting to read since it came out in 2020. I got it as a Christmas gift, and it is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This is now a series of 6. It is a work and translation by a Japanese author. And this book is about a magical coffee shop that allows you to time travel anywhere you want, but you have to come back before the coffee gets cold. So you see these characters travel to different times in their lives. And so it's fun to see where they choose to go and what they're able to do before the coffee gets cold. So this is number 1, a magical realism title with the theme of rules that are meant to be broken. Okay, next, this one was for my Downton Abbey fans, and this is Julian Fellowes' novel Snobs. So if you are a Downton Abbey or Gilded Age fan, then Julian Fellowes is the one who wrote those shows. He is just a he's a gem. And this book is the book that inspired Downton Abbey, or kind of gave him the platform to create Downton Abbey. And it is a manor novel. So you have all of these characters stuck in this manor in the country house, and think like Bridgerton in the off season. And they are all trying to adhere to social standards. It's what's known as a comedy of manners, this book, and they're all trying to like climb the social ladder while operating in this really rigid system, and just all of the shenanigans that go with it. And then, of course, we have the quintessential Julian Fellows upstairs downstairs drama that you may know and love from Downton Abbey and The Gilded Age. Okay, the next one is A Well-Behaved Woman. This book is by an author who wrote an incredible book on Zelda Fitzgerald that is one of my all-time favorite books. It's called Z. And since I read Z, I've been wanting to read her book on Alva Vanderbilt. So Alva Vanderbilt is the inspiration for the Bertha character in Julian Fellowes' The Gilded Age. So I love historical fiction. That's my favorite fiction genre. So anything that has me Googling, like, did that really happen? And the answer being yes, always completely captures me. Like, I love history, and I'm just a giant nerd in general. So I just love atmosphere, and I love learning together and being pulled into a novel. And this author did that so well with Zelda. So if you are not familiar with Bertha's story, or Alva's story as the true character, she is someone who was new money, and she was trying to break into the old money Astor's ballroom, and she couldn't do it without breaking all of the rules and reinventing all of the rules along the way. And so she managed to make herself incredibly successful, promote the social standing of her family so that they are still a household name today. She married her daughter off to a duke, just like in the show. Hopefully that's not a spoiler alert, it's history. And so she was just a fascinating woman who was really able to do the impossible for her time period. So that is the books for May. And the winner for May is A Well-Behaved Woman. Let me know in the comments if you got it right. I was so excited to read this. So in May, we are going to be reading this book and discussing it the last Wednesday of the month. So go get your copy, and I can't wait to talk about it with you live. I always learn so much every single time we do book club. It's ridiculous. I always see things that I missed. I think of myself as a super reader. I have been giving women reading lives they love as my profession for all these years, and still I'm amazed at how much I learn from all of you when we get to discuss our books. Okay, let's talk about June. The theme for June is Hollywood endings. So think iconic old Hollywood drama, and just the atmosphere of everything Hollywood creates, both within itself, the world of Hollywood, and then out into the world, right? Hollywood is a small town with a big mouth. The smallest town and with the biggest mouth, right, in the history of ever. So that is the heart behind these titles. The first one is one of my all-time favorite books. I very rarely run books that I've read because I want to experience things fresh with you. But this one has to be a canon title. It has to be something we read together, because it's a book that is just so relevant that you will be thinking about it every time you think of like a situation that falls into Hollywood. You will come back into this book, and it's just one of those books that never lets you go. And that is the iconic Valley of the Dolls. If you are not familiar with this book, it is a 60s book, but don't sleep on it because it's from the 60s, because it could have been written yesterday. You wouldn't even know that it wasn't written yesterday if you didn't kind of pick up the social and societal setting. So Valley of the Dolls is about a group of women who are trying to make it in New York. They are then discovered, they move to LA, and they are trying to keep up with all of the demands that are on them. And so they turn to dolls, which are pills, and they take uppers to have enough energy to do their job, and then they take downers, benzos to go to sleep at night. And no one really tells them that that is, super dangerous. And we know this is, like the story of Judy Garland and so many celebrities in Hollywood of this era, and the way that they were just pioneering this lifestyle that really hadn't been lived in this way. So it is this sharp social commentary that I honestly think this is a must read. If you're like me and you keep a lifetime reading plan, which is a list of books that you absolutely have to read within your lifetime. Mine is 1,000 titles long. We talk about this in the reading masterclass, and I almost I don't want to expand my TBR too much with new releases without getting to some of the best books ever written. So that is Valley of the Dolls. Next, we have The Last Days of the Midnight Ramblers. This is, if you enjoyed Daisy Jones and the Six, this book might be for you. This is a book about an iconic band in the 70s. And of course, it's a fictional band, but it's really a discussion of what it takes to make a legend, what it takes to make a myth. And you'll see that through line through almost all of the books that I've chosen for our Glam Summer of Reading. It's a general discussion about why do some things and some people and some eras become like legends that never die, right? So that's the broader discussion of The Last Days of the Midnight Ramblers. And if you're like me and you DNF'd Daisy Jones and the Six, because I just read it during a time that I just couldn't keep up with all of the voices. It was too jumpy for me in the season that I read it in. This book doesn't have those same like narrative issues, and it should be a lot of fun. So that's The Last Night of the Midnight Ramblers. And then last but not least, I think this one wins the Best Cover Award. This is a new release called LA Women that just came out this year, and it is about the iconic Laurel Canyon creativity scene in the 70s. So Laurel Canyon is an area of LA, and it's right by the city, but you go into it and like it just has this era of mystery and creativity, and you can see how so much famous art was created there, and why, the bands that lived and wrote during this time are still like on, kids' t-shirts today. So that is the creative scene in Laurel Canyon. So that's the setting. The plot is that two women are friends. One is an actress and one is a writer. The writer's career starts to plummet, and she has to save her career to, live and sleep indoors. And so she decides to write a novel about her friend, or write the story of her friend. And it's a discussion of female ambition, the cost of creativity, and really, again, a discussion of legend and myth, and the thin line between truth and reality, and who really owns a story. Is it the person who lived it? Is it the subject? And so that is LA Women. And I have to say, this cover, it gives Beverly Hills Hotel with Betsy Johnson with just like old Hollywood glamour, and I just love the cover. Okay, so which one do you think is gonna win? Let me know in the comments, and also let me know which ones of these books you would love to read this summer. I plan to read all of them. We'll only be discussing a couple of the ones that win in the clubhouse, but this is also just my Glam Summer of Reading. So the winner is Valley of the Dolls. I totally thought LA Women was going to win because the cover I thought was the best, and a lot of times it's not so much about the best story as the best cover in terms of getting us to pick it up, right? Okay, July. The theme for July is Glam Summer After Dark. So think twisty, weird, unexpected, just girly glam, but also dark and twisty. So the first book is The Serial Killer's Guide to San Francisco. So one of my dreams is to move to San Francisco, or to have a house in San Francisco. I don't want to give away my house in Napa or sell my house in Napa ever. I just love it so much. So I realized we have never read a book set in San Francisco. We have to change that. And this book, while it looks like a cozy mystery, is not a cozy mystery. This is a full-on mystery/thriller. It is about a woman who gives tours in San Francisco of San Francisco iconic history, of which there is much history. San Francisco, since really the last couple hundred years, has had the highest concentration of billionaires in the world. And it has this storied history because of all of the robber barons and the people who have chosen to set up shop there, and just the generational wealth, and of course all of the kind of things that come with that big city living. So this woman has a grandfather who is a famous serial killer, but she doesn't believe he did it. And then a copycat serial killer pops up, and he is killing people all over the city. And so she decides to start a true crime podcast unpacking these murders, and also hoping to prove her grandfather's innocence until she is accused of being the serial killer. And that is The Serial Killer's Guide to San Francisco. This should be full of atmosphere, and this is also the first in a series of 3. So if you love a good series, I've actually been looking for a book for, a series for us to read. We like to read like a series all together, like we did Practical Magic, that series. So anyway, this is The Serial Killer's Guide to San Francisco. Next, we have The Chateau. So this book is about a girl's trip to Europe where they stay at a French manor, and then the lady of the manor turns up dead. And in true Gossip Girl fashion, with the death, a Instagram account pops up chronicling all of the girls' adventures within the manor. And then they have to figure out who killed the lady of the manor before they get killed themselves. And that is The Chateau. So if you love France, which I love France, other than America, it is my favorite place. Like, all of the French culture, manor novel. So one of my favorite settings, and then a whodunit, and that is The Chateau. Okay, last we have a sequel that we read together. This is a new release. So in March of 2022, we read The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. Laura Dave is one of my all-time favorite authors. This book was adapted for Apple Plus, and I still haven't seen the show, but I gotta watch it because we are going to be reading the sequel that just came out in January, The First Time I Saw Him. So I've read every Laura Dave book except for this one that just came out and the one she published right before it. She's one of my favorite authors because of the way that she writes both atmosphere and relationships. So this book and this series, you might want to read the first one before you unpack the second one with us, but it's not necessary, of course, but this story is really compelling because so this woman marries a man, and he has a daughter, and they're living their kind of like tech life in San Francisco on a houseboat in Sausalito, when suddenly the man disappears and she's left with the daughter to take care of. And she has to figure out why her husband disappeared and get her daughter and her to safety. And so that is the plot of the first novel. And it ends in the epilogue with years have passed, and she sees her husband, who essentially framed his own death, in her art exhibit. And she knows that he showed up to warn her, basically, or for a reason. And she has to figure out what that reason is in the second novel. So this picks up right where this one left off. And that is The First Time I Saw Him. So excited to revisit this world with all of you. And that is July. And the winner is The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave. I think that this second one is also being adapted by Apple Plus, but I meant to fact check that. So there's nothing like a book to movie adaptation. So that is The First Time I Saw Him. I totally thought The Serial Killer's Guide to San Francisco or The Chateau, I totally thought The Chateau or The Serial Killer's Guide was going to win. So once again, I was surprised. Were you surprised which one won? Which one would you be excited to read? Let me know. Next, I have a surprise for all of you. All of you who are members, that we have a bonus book for July, and together we are going to be reading, in addition to The First Time I Saw Him, we are going to be reading a book called, and they called it, Camelot. So I have been completely captured by love story that I've been watching on Hulu, which chronicles the love story of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. And I know I'm not the only one who's been completely captivated by this. It has just become completely viral, and it made me want to explore the way that Jackie Kennedy Onassis created the legend of Camelot. So if you're too young to know about Camelot, it is the 1,000 magical days before JFK was murdered. And The JFK assassination, of course, has been in the kind of the top of public consciousness since it happened. It's one of those things that it's just like a wound on America, but it's also incredibly fascinating because again, we get into the discussion of like what makes a legend, like, right, what makes a myth. And of course, the tragic death of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette is also like layered in here. So this book is all about how after the death of JFK, Jackie created the Kennedys into this American legend that is still top of mind today. So I'm so excited to discuss this one with you and to throw in a bonus book into our summer that no one voted on that I just picked for us to read together. All right, the theme for August is Glambition Gone Wrong. Think lights, camera, fallout. And the first title is a literary fiction work called Exposure. So this came to me when I found it in my favorite bookstore in Santa Monica, which is Zibby's bookstore. And this is this book was published through her publishing house, the owner. And you might know her from her podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, just on the premise that we all have time to read books, and in her case, also run a bookstore and a publishing house. So anyway, I have a book avalanche happening. All right, so Exposure is about the ways that life makes you grieve, and that grief is not always able to be recognized, or it's not culturally acceptable to discuss or even feel that grief. And, you know, we all, as we get older, we have to just constantly grieve, whether that's letting go of people that mean a lot to us for one reason or another, or let go of the dreams that we had for our life that we, you know, may not be able to see to fruition. And it is how a group of 4 different women are experiencing that grief. So the book starts out in 2014 and we see women who are like young and idealistic, and then the story follows them up through 2004, and it follows them up to 2017. So we see them live through a decade and kind of how their life turns out and the ways that it followed what their ambition for their life was, and then the ways that it didn't, and how they've grappled with that. So that is Exposure. This is probably the heaviest book in the title. So I also, in this title though, I also like to kind of stagger the titles with like light, fun, with like some heavier books with like a more teeth in them that will probably give us, there's always plenty to discuss, but sometimes the books with more teeth give us more to kind of like chew on, right? Hence the saying. All right, the second book is a young adult title. We had been reading a young adult title every year for quite a while, but I just hadn't run one yet this year. So I was like, I gotta get a young adult title in the running. And this book is called Influence. So I would say this book is almost like the young adult version of Exposure, which is why I ran them together. So this is like the lighter, more fun, more coming of age version. And this book is about 4 different influencers who are young. One, I think, is like 19. So they're in their early 20s, late teens, early 20s, and they have found internet fame, all for different reasons. One girl is in like a famous relationship that was like shipped, you know, by the internet. One woman is like the picture perfect type awesome girl. And so that's what she's famous for. One girl is like the, you know, hot mess express that, you know, just somehow keeps winning. And then the 4th girl is like the daughter of Hollywood royalty. So she is just famous because of who her parents are. And then we see all of these girls kind of grapple with their various identity, both the identity they created for themselves or the identity the world assigned to them because of their parents or their circumstances. So that is Influence. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Jessica Knoll's book, Bright Young Women. So Jessica Knoll is, her first book, The Luckiest Girl Alive, was one of my all-time favorite fiction books. It was adapted by Netflix. I still haven't seen the adaptation. I got to see it. This is her 3rd book, and it's supposed to be really good. It is a fictionalized retelling of the Ted Bundy murders. So if you are maybe a little bit young for that, which I am, I don't really remember much of the Ted Bundy murders, but now so many years later, we have we know so much. We know so much about like the CIA and MK Ultra and Operation Monarch and all of these government ops that create the serial killers that we know, right? It's not random. Like these are not random happenings that just magically capture the consciousness, the collective consciousness, and a lot of it. The Ted Bundy murders, as I understand it, were kind of orchestrated to like end the hippie movement. And so it's a discussion of the Ted Bundy murders through the eyes of the victims. So that is Bright Young Women. And those are our August titles. Which one do you think won? Drum roll, the winner was Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. And I have one last surprise for you, Glam readers. We have a bonus book for August, and the bonus book is Margot's Got Money Troubles. If you're not familiar with this book, you probably will be soon because it just released on Apple Plus this last month, and the episodes are releasing through the end of May. And so I thought it would be so fun to read the actual book that inspired the series, but also our very own Dee published this book with Thomas Nelson. If you have been with me for any length of time in book club, then you know Dee. She's a longtime chatter, a longtime friend, and it's just been so fun to see her go from selling books and working in a bookstore in Atlanta to moving to New York and working for Thomas Nelson and publishing some of the biggest books in fiction. So that is Margot's Got Money Problems. We are going to be discussing it with the publisher, which is so fun and such an honor. And I just love how God just has a way of bringing people together and bringing things full circle, especially through shared values. And in this case, it's the love of books and reading and the community that comes up around it. So my sweet friend, that is your Glam Summer Reading Guide. So what you're going to do next is go join the Paper and Glam Book Club, either for this season or just join the whole membership. If you know you want to do Glam Memories, if you've been thinking about joining, then just jump in. But book club is available. Just joining book club is available now, May 7th through May 14th. I'm so excited to read along with you. So what you're going to do is join the membership, and I recommend you watch the reading masterclass. So in addition to book club, you get access to, of course, the book that we're reading that particular month and that discussion, as well as the whole library of books that we've read together. So both the library of books we've read, which is 150 books so far, not counting the ones I just debuted, and all of those discussions. Plus, there is the reading masterclass, which helps you get more out of every single book you're reading. Whatever you're reading right now, you will see it with fresh eyes. Whatever you read in the future, you will get more out of that. So the goal is that you are looking forward to every book you read, and the best way to do that is by getting better understanding yourself as a reader, as well as understanding what is happening and kind of the design of the books that you read. So that's my goal with the Paper and Glam book club. It's that you have this reading life that you love. You never have to wonder what you're going to read next. You never have to wonder if you're going to love what you're reading, because you know yourself as a reader and you understand publishing as well. So my sweet friends, I cannot wait to see you on a live stream. I can't wait to meet new members of the Paper and Glam book club, and go plan yourself a glam summer of reading. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. That helps me so much. And also jump in on the newsletter. I have a lot of announcements coming, both for the launch of Glam Memories, and then I also have new releases coming for digital. So if you have been wanting new stickers, digital releases are coming this month. So sign up for the newsletter. I only email you once a week, and it is just kind of like a blog post pep talk that also has the week's video and then anything happening that I want to share with you. So with that, thank you guys for being with me. I love you guys, and happy reading.